So previously we talked about how religion added stories to the culture, values, festivals and ethics that has existed long before the religion itself. So let's see how and why are these stories so important in the world we live in. Let's take the example of Diwali. It was a harvest and festival, a new moon celebration, and people celebrated it by lighting up the lamps to mark the end of the monsoon. And it was a way to celebrate prosperity after the crops were stored. It had nothing to do with Ram and Lakshmi. Similarly, Christmas originally had nothing to do with Jesus. It was just a winter solstice celebration wherein people used lights, gifts, and decorations to celebrate it, marking the return of the longer sunlight days. So it was a natural event, not a religious one, and similar with Holi, Eid, etc. So the festivals back then was linked to the dawn of better seasons. And why so? Because seasons controlled survival. Like monsoon brought the water for crops, drinking water refilled, and greenery returned in contrast to summer, which brought drought and hunger, making the survival difficult. So now as the time passed, Valmiki and some regional writers popularized the idea of light celebration for Ram's return. Later, the Gupta period gave Diwali a Lakshmi connection because the Guptas worshipped prosperity. And this way that harvest and festival became the celebration for Ram's return and Lakshmi Puja. Now imagine how many of us would have been celebrating that crop harvest festival in the world we live in, where not all the people belongs to farming, and even who does belong, at what scale that mere harvest-based festival would have been celebrated. So all these festivals would have been died out by now if those poets, saints, Purans, and even common people won't have added these stories to the festivals and cultures. Now you may ask, so what? Even if they didn't existed by now, what's big of matter is it? Well, think about it. These festivals are the reasons to come back and join our friends and family from our busy lives. No matter in what profession we are, we all get holidays and leaves to celebrate these festivals with our families. Like I grew up in a moment where we celebrate Diwali, in which we clean houses, buy sweets and clothes, and this gun also. We make dishes. And in doing all these, we spend a good time with our friends and families. And yeah, along all these, we also follow some rituals to worship some gods. Although I don't do it. But yeah, rest of the things are enough for me. I quite like the environments these festivals brings with them. And I'm damn sure most of you enjoy these as well. You see how we are giving so much attention to that one particular day? And that too without any reason. Yes, we don't have any physical reasons to make that one day so special and celebrate it, except these stories, though false, but they are silently giving us the reasons to come back from our fast lives and enjoy happiness and love. And these stories have become so deep rooted in our minds that we don't even realize why we are celebrating Diwali. I mean, I'm sure most of you have not been thinking about Ram's return on Diwali. Well, that's how impactful and powerful stories are. Okay, listen this. If I have to teach you that don't lie, lying is wrong, do you think the statement alone makes any impact on you? But remember that one story we all heard in our childhoods of a village boy shouting "Bhedi aaya, bhedi aaya"? You can go watch it if your parents didn't told you. That story has so much more impact than mere the statement don't lie. It's wrong to lie. So you see how this story has added so much impact to the lesson it teaches. And because it's a story, humans have tendency to retell stories to their future generations. And it's a easy way to tell the moral behind it. So now coming back, not only festivals, the religion also brought with it the cultures and tradition. I mean, imagine how boring is it to marry with just pen and paper? Fuck. I'm sure a bunch of people will have that emotional thing attached to this sindoor ritual, that they'll have the desire to see their wives with a bit of sindoor at least once or on some special festivals like Karwa Chauth. For different people, it can be different rituals that they feel emotional about in marriage. These are just symbols like Mangal Sutra, Sindoor, Jaimala, and there can be a lot of different rituals in different cultures and practices. But what they mean to us is common for all. You know, these symbols, as mentioned before, like rings, Sindoor, Varmala, etc. These evoke emotions within us. The emotions like love, bonding, possessiveness, and togetherness. It is these emotions which are making us feel life. And not only in marriage, the festivals like Rakhi evoke different emotions in us. And all these exist because religion does. Because the stories attached to these practices are taking these practices further. Although we can't deny the fact that these stories are being used by different people to brainwash people in many different ways. But these things are only happening to those who are incapable of using their logic and reason. Now some will say that Diwali causes a lot of pollution due to crackers, AQI is rising, environment is getting polluted, etc. etc. But note that it's crackers that are causing pollution, not Diwali. Diwali has its earliest roots from about 2500 years ago. Diwali took the mythological meanings with stories attached over centuries. And only about 500 to 600 years ago, the fireworks came to India with gunpowder technology and it gradually became the part of the festival. Imagine 20-30 years from now, there comes a ritual of killing a deer and gifting its skin to some god on Diwali. It might not make any sense right now, but it is totally possible. And that's why we need to use logic and intellect before accepting anything ridiculous. So what's the solution for these crackers polluting the environment or any other rituals in other festivals also which are not good for our society? The very simple and straightforward solution is government. This is why our government for, and it's completely the responsibility of the government to look after the changes that are taking place in our society. And if they are bad for our society, they should ban and take action on that. I mean, it's not a recent thing that crackers are polluting our environment, right? A good and responsible government would have banned these things the moment they saw that these changes are creating a wrong impact in our society. They are polluting environment. But our government don't give a fuck about this, because why they will go against the uneducated, stupid and religion blinded people who are voting for them. And don't forget the education's definition from the previous video. So ideally, this is why our government for. It's the government's job to take the responsibility of the wrong changes happening in our society and ban them. Coming back to the stories, these stories not only gave meaning to the celebrations, they also teach morals and values to the people, like good versus evil, faith, honesty, courage, devotion, patience and sacrifice. And this is what actually works, because narratives are more impactful than rules. These stories also united the society under shared beliefs. If everyone believes in the same story, then everyone celebrates together, resulting in a stronger community bonding. So these stories also acted as a social glue, and of course these also prevented festivals for the future, because as we discussed, harvest meaning is gone today, but the stories have kept festivals alive. Rules are forgotten, rituals are forgotten, but stories are remembered, and stories are retold automatically. Early stories also solved real problems. They said don't go near the forest or a demon will take you. This kept children safe from wild animals. And the idea was, as the child will grow up, they will understand the truth and reason behind why they were told so. And that all these were just stories. But when the problem starts, when the child don't grow up mature enough to understand that demon was not real. And that is exactly how most people in our country are. They just took the stories and forgot the intention for what it was made for. Did they learn morality? No. Did they understand that these were only stories to help us teach lessons? No. Did they learn anything from the characters of the stories, which are called gods? No. So basically what they did was they captured the story only, and now they are fighting that this character of my story is superior than yours. And you cannot say that it's their fault. It will always be their parents' fault. And for their parents, it's their parents' fault. And I have a very good reason why I'm saying so. It is because you can make a child the great or the worst. And it is because babies are born morally neutral. They are born with no moral, intellect or logic. They are just born with some innate emotions like curiosity, pleasure, discomfort, disgust, like bitter tastes, and fear and surprise. For example, if you place a puppy before a baby, they will not show some innate love or hate emotion towards it. They might stare at the puppy and try to touch it and show excitement because it's something soft, warm, interesting and something which is moving. So it triggers interest and joy. Some might cry if puppy barks or moves suddenly. So these reactions towards that puppy are some of the few emotions they are born with. But they will learn how to react towards that puppy from their families, from their parents and from their environment. They will instill it. So everything else than these few innate emotions, they learn them from the environment they grow up in. And that's why I said parentism can make a person great or worst. So you can say that the lot of people which exist in our society which are morally wrong and are incapable of using their logic and intellect, it's their parents' fault. Although some might get lucky to be exposed with some good content like books or even on social media. But we cannot rely on luck for making a small child a human as they grow up. It's their only and only parents' job. So it's their responsibility to control their child's environment till they grow up to understand what's wrong and what's right. And if you cannot take this responsibility, if you cannot be a good parent, then use this. They are not made to blow air in and hang them on bodies. And if that hinders your pleasure, then get this done. But don't ruin a child life. So I hope you understand that these stories are quite important in the world we live in. So religion really helped us in many different ways, like teaching morality or helping us preserve our cultures and festivals. But of course, the same stories and religions were also used in different wrong ways. And one of the examples we see today is the caste system. So some people realized that controlling beliefs means controlling controlling people. So they twisted religion to justify social hierarchy, oppression, or their own privileges. So religion was a good tool to serve many different purposes, but people in power, they used it for bad purposes. And it's not only with religion, it's same with politics, technology, weapons, or laws. Some wrong people use it for different wrong ways, going against the very thing it was made for. So anything created for good can turn harmful when misused. And as I said, one of the biggest example we have is the caste system. It was originally created to divide people by their jobs, like farmers, warriors, priests, and workers. This was not at all linked to the birth initially. It only took the wrong turn when religious texts and priests said this hierarchy was God-given. And this turned a flexible job system into a strict birth-based caste system. You can drop the comments if you want to know more about the caste system and how it all started. So what is the solution of all this? The only solution is education. And again and again I am saying, read the education's definition from last video. Education is not what it is to the most of the people. And you can find the link of the last video in description or in comments. So coming back, and as I said, education is the only solution to all these problems. Because if everyone will have logic, reason, intellect, and the ability to think, they will not believe in anything stupid. They will use their brain and ask for good reason or reasons before accepting anything. So yeah, the power to shape the upcoming society and future generations lies within you and me. Because it's us, the youth, who will be taking the generation further, and our parenting will determine the changes in the society. Because the society is made by the people, and if the people would be good, so would be the society.